The argument continued to escalate, and the woman who was smoking a cigarette at the time said Malinowski then splashed her with gas in an attempt to light her on fire. She called 911 fearing for her life and grabbed Malinowski's crutches to prevent him from using them as weapons. Bro, Florida is not a real place. Like, this is, I swear to God, this story right here is just like, that's an insane thing that happens every day in Florida, it seems. Do we know where Lieutenant Dan is? Yes. We have updates on Lieutenant Dan as well. Lieutenant Dan post-hurricane update. He is very much alive. Boats float, coolers float. I was wrong.
We got the boat here and Lieutenant Dan here. How'd it go? How'd the night go?
It was a little rough till about 11:30. I repositioned the boat and I was heading into the wind, and I slept like a baby from 12:30 to 5 o'clock this morning. I woke up twice to pee, that was it. But other than that, I mean, it's been a great night. I just smoked half a joint. I'm high, I'm watching all the people run around like crazy because of all the water.
Wait, this was post-Helene. This is not a good update. This is after Helene. That's going to give nutters even more ammo to question government warnings. Oh, 100%. That's after Helene, not Milton. Some people are saying in the chat that Lieutenant Dan is a registered pedophile. This is the least shocking news that I have heard. Just the least shocking turn of events. Turns out Lieutenant Dan is a fraud that started a GoFundMe 3 weeks ago, right before relocating to the worst area in Tampa Bay. He's also raised over 20K. Yeah, I know. I don't know if he was a diddler himself, but he does have a criminal record. He hit an EMS, I think, or a law enforcement officer. Don't know if it was an EMT or a law enforcement officer, but he hit a first responder with a fucking violin. I don't know if he's a pedophile or if he's a registered sex offender or not. But it would not shock me if he was. Why would it not shock me if he was? Because Lieutenant Dan is getting a kick deal. Turns out Aiden Ross was like, oh, I'll give you 70 grand if you film yourself possibly dying in the storm. Well, he had an update to that. Yesterday, we found out Aiden Ross was like, no, I'm not actually going to give you money, 70 grand, if you film yourself. That was only for 2 of my friends, not you, to a kick streamer who was actually filming themselves. Aiden Ross pulls Lieutenant Dan's kick deal and new boat after finding out Dan is allegedly a pedo and grifter. That was a quick switch up from Aiden. We finally did it. We found one pedophile that Kick won't give a deal to. I thought he would have seen that and been like, oh yeah, that's great. Wow, he's a scammer. That's a bridge too far for me. Viral TikToker Lieutenant Dan survived Hurricane Milton in his 20-foot boat after refusing to evacuate. Now he's been offered a new $100,000 boat and a kick deal by Aiden Ross. But it turns out Aiden Ross also revoked the deal. Don't call him a pedophile. We don't know that for sure. Yeah, no, I don't know. Lieutenant Dan's 14 mugshots go crazy. He's a generational menace. Guys, I think there's something really funny about looking at a dude like this and being like, wow, I can't believe he has a criminal background. Like, I can't believe this man has been in and out of prison. Also, just to be clear, most of these are failure to appear. This is the article they clipped out the name, so you can't see the first name is different, but also the age doesn't line up. Yeah, this is not, Lieutenant Dan is not, this isn't correct. Also, if he was on a 120-year term for raping a 10-year-old, obviously he would still be in prison and not on a fucking boat in Florida, okay? Boat in Florida is the prison, okay? That's not how that works, but I see where you're going with that. Yeah, he is not. This is a different registered sex offender with the same last name, but not even the same first name. So a lot of people got on that. I think Aiden Ross should make good and give Lieutenant Dan the $100,000 and the new boat that he said he was going to give Lieutenant Dan. Kind of fucked up that Aiden Ross is just getting fake news over here, but here's an update from him.
Lieutenant Dan! Lieutenant Dan! Lieutenant Dan! Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm fine. Are you sure? I think you made it through the worst of it.
Yeah, he made it through the worst of it. He got definitely lucky, by the way. Lieutenant Dan is upset after being told that Aiden Ross and Kick are no longer going to give him a $100,000 boat and a kick deal after they found out about his history, which includes assaulting a woman and a police officer. Let's take a look.
What about Aiden Ross telling you he not getting you a boat no more?
He came to me. I never went to him. He offered it to me. I never asked for it. So then he turned around and he started
Dude, Florida is a magnet for grifters like this. So you know every dude with like a shit coin is trying to fucking go over there and give him clothes to wear with like dink donk coin or whatever the fuck they can find to be like, hey, Lieutenant Dan, put this shirt on.
Saying about my history, well, you should have did that before you made the offer. You know, if you're worried about your image and who you have working for you, you should have done your due diligence and looked me up before you made me an offer of $100,000 sign-on bonus to $50,000 a month with a $100,000 boat. And I'm gonna let you go because I don't care about that. But I'm gonna tell you
He
this.
took the money away too?
Huh?
He took the 100K?
Took that, as far as I know, everything.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's the thing. I mean, I didn't ask you for
Man, that's a whole lot of ketchup, dude. That's a lot of ketchup to just dump on that fucking scrambled eggs
You
right
offered
there.
it. I agreed to do what you asked me to do. You asked me to be on Kick 100 hours a month. I agreed. I said, no problem. I'll do it. I'm down for that. We agreed, and then all of a sudden, the next thing I see her and see on the internet is how you're disgusted with my history and that deal is done.
So what about your history that
Oh, never mind. It's a sandwich. Valid. I take it back. Valid.
discussed him so bad? Because we all got a history. Nobody closet clean.
I went to prison. I did jail time, but I have to tell you point blank, God to my soul, I'm innocent of all the charges. I was charged with battery on a law enforcement officer. He said I punched.
Ketchup on eggs is valid. No, I thought he was just raw dogging it with fucking omelets. One packet for a Sammy is valid. I take it back. You know, I've disrespected Lieutenant Dan quite a bit. I have. I said his boat won't float. I said he'll die. Who's the smart one? Who's the smart one? Just right now, right here, I disrespected him again. I said, Lieutenant Dan, that's too much ketchup. I was wrong. One packet of ketchup is so valid in a sandwich. You can put ketchup on eggs as long as it's in a sandwich format. And I didn't even realize that it was a sandwich style situation. It's because I'm judging a book by its cover. Once again,
Him in the nose. I never even saw the cop. He beat the hell out of me from behind. And then I went to prison for a year and a day on a battery on a Leo charge. And I never even saw him. But the thing is this.
so he didn't actually hit a fucking EMS. He hit a cop.
Karma and God are real. Because the bartender who started it all, the manager, and the arresting officer were all the witnesses. While I went to prison for 5.5 months, the 44-year-old bartender had a massive heart attack.
To be fair to you, if Milton had not swung south of Tampa and hit Tampa directly, he would not have been able to ride that shit out. I know, but that's besides the point.
In his sleep and died.
Oh, my God.
The cop, who was a street cop,
You do not need to give a pedo his flowers. He's not. I mean, he might be, but he is not a registered sex offender. That's a different person.
that used to wear the sheriff thing across his chest and had the gun and the boots and the military. He's now behind a desk at the substation in Lake Worth. So that when you walk in, he's like, "How can I help you?" You know, tell me that ain't a demotion.
Right.
You know, and on top of that, he looks like he's got cancer.
Oh, my God.
And that ain't my fault. I didn't do nothing to you.
Right.
You know what? Karma bit you on the ass because you got on the stand and said, I punched you in the nose when you know damn well I didn't do it. I never even saw you.
That's crazy.
Mr. Joe makes me feel old. You can just call me Jay.
Jay. So do you like that they call you Lieutenant Dan?
I don't care. I mean, I gotta rephrase that. Let me reword that. I do, but I don't. I do because it's what got me blown up the way I am.
Yeah.
But I'm not Dan. I'm not Lieutenant Dan. I'm not a lieutenant. I've never been in the military. Never claimed to be. And I don't want people to think that I don't want them to associate me being in the military because of this.
Yeah.
You know, they think I'm a vet and things like that. And I'm not.
He's like, gross. I would never be in the military. He hates stolen valor, but more importantly, he's like, don't fucking say I'm in the military. How dare
I
you?
never claimed to be.
Are you happy about your GoFund hitting 30-something thousand though?
I'm free.
You supposed to be living your best life in Dubai. Or you are?
I'll be there. This is only the beginning.
This is just the beginning. I know that's right.
You lose again. He survived. I mean, I wanted him to survive. I didn't want him to fucking die. I may have set a woman on fire, but don't you dare associate me with those dastardly Marine Corps. So wait, where is the setting a woman on fire coming from? Because like, how the fuck did he get out of prison if he just like lit a woman on fire? That's an insane thing that you guys are just saying. Listen, in this house, we respect the veterans. And in my mind, he's still a vet. He's still a lieutenant. It's legal in Florida. He didn't light a woman on fire. He lit a park bench on fire. And the woman said he got gas on her. Oh, why was he lighting a park bench on fire? Joseph Malinowski, 54, so nicknamed for his resembles the double amputee sailor played by Gary Sinise in Forrest Gump. Racked up dozens of arrests in North Carolina and Florida dating back to at least 2006. Whoa! Another North Carolina to Florida felon, just like our boy Ryan Ruth. Also not a military veteran, but also with connections to other military veterans. It also appears he's not even from the Tampa area. His most recent busts were in South Florida. Malinowski was featured on the Weather Channel, CNN, and on a live stream with TikToker Tampa Terrence Concannon, who nearly has 500,000 followers. Concannon set up a GoFundMe to raise money for Malinowski to buy a larger vessel, which as of now has $40,000, calling him the kindest soul who's always ready to lend a hand. Many of the charges are traffic offenses or arrest for failure to appear in court, but he's also been busted for everything from drug possession to attempted breaking and entering to aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. He even has an open criminal case out of Tampa. In May 2021, Malinowski was arrested for allegedly refusing a manager's request to leave the Broges Down Under bar in Lake Worth, Florida, after causing a disturbance by screaming and smashing glasses. As a responding Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy was intending to handcuff him, Malinowski became aggressive and punched him on the nose, according to an arrest report. The deputy punched him back to subdue the rowdy skipper, who received a laceration on his face from broken glass on the floor of the bar. Free my man, he innocent. He was charged with battery against a law enforcement officer and pleaded not guilty, but served a year in jail after being convicted by a jury. Yeah, this guy's track record, his criminal record, his criminal background is unironically not as bad as like the average Floridian. You know, a more recent and disturbing incident came last February when a woman reported she had gotten in an argument with Malinowski, who had been sitting on a concrete bench at Lake Fort Worth Beach. During the argument, Malinowski allegedly approached the woman and poured gasoline on the bench directly next to where she was sitting and set it alight. The argument continued to escalate, and the woman, who was smoking a cigarette at the time, said Malinowski then splashed her with gas in an attempt to light her on fire. She called 911 fearing for her life and grabbed Malinowski's crutches to prevent him from using them as weapons. Bro, Florida is not a real place. Like, this is, I swear to God, this story right here is just like, that's an insane thing that happens every day in Florida, it seems. Okay? It is a GTA PvP server, dude. Not even RP, just straight. Mainline. Grand Theft Auto online lobby, dude. What the fuck is happening? She grabbed Malinowski's crutches to prevent him from using them as weapons or escape before help could arrive, records allege. Malinowski used his crutches to help him get around after his left leg was amputated above the knee following a scooter accident nearly 40 years ago. What the fuck? A scooter accident? Bro, how the fuck did you get into such a severe scooter accident that you had to get amputated? How is that even possible? Everything I find out about this man, it makes me more interested. You ever get hit in the shin by a scooter, bro? Yeah, it just lobbed his fucking leg clean off. He was arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, but the case was dropped a month later for reasons that were not explained and could not be immediately determined. His credentials as a responsible sailor are also shaky at best. This is such a funny action shot. Malinowski allegedly attempted to set a woman on fire last year after getting in an argument. He was cleared. Fuck you mean? Last March, Malinowski was charged for abandoning a derelict 26-foot sailboat called the Rowan Einish, which was discovered on its side and submerged against the seawall in Lantana, South Florida, according to court documents. Chat, suck my dick. Mr. Boats Float. Mr. Boats Float. Dude, this guy has a history. This guy has a history of capsizing shit. However, prosecutors later declined to pursue the case in court due to terms of a plea deal. As Hurricane Milton was bearing down Florida, Malinowski became internet famous for stubbornly refusing to evacuate his vessel. I know the mayor of Tampa just said in her press conference that Lieutenant Dan went to a shelter. He didn't. I'm standing right here, said News Nation correspondent Brian Enton. Lightning doesn't strike twice. His second boat won't sink. Yeah.